What is happening, YouTube? It's your boy Zary here from Zary's Mobile Gaming, and today we are going to look at the top 10 most unlikely synergies in the game. And when I mean unlikely synergies, what I'm talking about is you might not automatically think of pairing these two characters together, but what they provide off of each other can be huge. Some of them you might have thought of, some of them are commonly run, some of them aren't. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10. Coming in at number 10, and the reason it's at number 10 is because one of the characters isn't in the game yet, but it's something to think about. And it has to do with Freezard and General Murdoch. And it has to do with the slow mechanic. On his basic ability, Freezard inflicts slow. And what slow does is it slows you down. It stops the increase of your turn meter. And General Murdoch, under his second ability, it's a trap. At level 6, it reduces the turn meter by an astounding 50%. That is just humongous. So putting them together, someone that can inflict slow just simply by doing their basic, with the chance then to pair that with a person who can do a 50% turn meter reduction, is why General Murdoch and Freezard come in at number 10. Number 9. Number 9 comes from Amara, who is very hard to farm, and Venomate, and it has to do with the poison mechanic. Venomate's second ability, the Poisonous Cloud, deals 100% of magic damage to all enemies with a 50% chance to poison the target. While Amara, on the other hand, has a Good Sear ability, which deals 130% of the magic damage to an enemy, plus an extra 15% magical damage for each burning and poison stack on the target. That's at level 1. At level 6, it deals an additional 60%. So putting those two together, you're increasing the damage of Amara's ability. She also pairs very well with anybody with a burning effect. So you could put her with a Synergies, you could put her with a Corkrum, anybody like that. Number 8. Number 8 comes from a likely combo, but this is a combo that I just recently myself discovered how good the synergy was, and that is between Nightiel and Sharp. Under Nightiel's lead, Invoking the Moon, all allied elves gain a 20% increase, and upon landing a critical hit, they restore 10% of their max health. Now, Sharp has an ability called Critical Thinking, in which he gains a critical chance increase and it applies it to all allies for 2 turns. So what is it doing is essentially making the survivability of any elves in that party underneath Nightiel's leadership that much more impactful and better. It can keep people alive for much, much longer, increasing the survivability and making that team really annoying to fight. So that is why Nightiel and Sharp come in at number 8. Number 7. Number 7 comes to us from Synergies, and the one everybody's after, Ember, and it has to do with the burning mechanic. Now, Synergies and Ember are both from the order side of the game, so they have synergy built in there underneath a leadership that encapsulates the order. But on Synergies' basic move, he inflicts burning for 2 turns. At level 3, it's a 40% chance. At level 6, it automatically inflicts burning, so that is a 100% chance to inflict burning by using his basic skill. Now, Ember actually has 2 moves built into her kit to benefit from the burning mechanic, and the first one is on her basic. Fireball deals at level 1 deals 80% magic damage. A burn target will receive 110 magic damage instead. If you go to level 6, it deals 170% magic damage to an enemy. A burn target receives 210% of magic damage instead. Then, on her passive ability, for each burning stack on an enemy, Ember recovers 1% health at the start of her turn. So she can inflict burning as well. You're going to have to use Synergies' basic at one point in time. So you're going to inflict the burning to help Ember with her survivability and her magic damage output. That is why Synergies and Ember come in at number 7. Number 6. Number 6 comes to us from Major Shot and Corkrum. Now they're both clans, which is big for the synergy off the bat. But Corkrum's third ability, his Spectral Beast, deals 240% magic damage to an enemy. A stunned and burned target will be dealt an additional 80% of magic damage at level 4. At level 6, it deals 360% of the magic damage to an enemy. If the target is stunned and burned, all enemies will be dealt an additional 100% magic damage. So it has a built-in AoE. Now, playing Corcoran quite a bit, it's hard to make sure you have burning on somebody and they're stunned at the same time. It can be very tricky. So Major Shot has a second ability called the Little Goblin That Could. And at level 1, it deals 90% physical damage to all enemies. Major Shot switches to battle mode. This effect cannot be prevented or removed. Using this ability, again, will cancel battle mode. Using this ability with battle mode has a 30% chance to stun an enemy for 2 turns. Level 6, and again, the physical damage goes up and it reads the same, but it gives you a 70% chance to stun the enemy. And if you put him in with a Tromgar, it more than doubles the chance of you to get a burned and a stunned opponent, increasing that massive AoE that Corcoran could do by a lot. So that is why Corcoran and Major Shot come in at number 6. Number 5. Number 5 comes to us from Revol and Hard Orc, and it has to do with the bleed mechanic. This isn't the only time we're going to talk about bleed on this list, but they could pair very well together. Now, Revol and Hard Orc both are from the Clans faction, so again, we have the nice synergy built in under there. Maybe if you used a Hera lead, or even a Rantha lead. Revol's basic ability, he has the chance to inflict bleeding. Now, if you take it to level 6, he just inflicts bleeding for 2 turns. Then his passive ability, Bloodlust, it deals 3% more damage for each stack of bleeding on enemies. Then looking at Hard Orc, on his basic ability, Punch in the Teeth, at level 6, he also inflicts bleeding for 2 turns. Simply by running his basic again, you're increasing the damage of Revol, and we all know that Revol can pump out some serious damage. He's also an extreme glass cannon, and another reason why putting Revol with Hard Orc could be huge. Hard Orc's ability called Devil's Horns, where he can apply to 4 allies at a level 6 cheat death, regeneration, and damage increase. Could you imagine putting that on there with all the bleeds that'll be on the field? It could be absolutely devastating. So not only is Revol benefiting from the bleeds on Hard Orc's basic, he's also benefiting from the cheat death, regeneration, and damage increase as well. So that is why Hard Orc and Revol come in at number 5. Number 4. Number 4 is from Vorian the Trickster and Venomate, and it has to do again with the poison mechanic. Venomate, on his basic ability, when it is all maxed out, has an 80% chance to poison the target for 2 turns. Also, on his Poison Cloud, inflicts poison for 2 turns. 2 of his 3 moves he's inflicting poison. His passive ability at level 6, Venomate deals 20% more damage for each stack of poison on the enemy. Now we go to Vorian the Trickster. He, on his basic, has a 80% chance to inflict poison for 2 turns. His second ability, Sneaky Maneuver, at level 6 deals 360% physical damage to an enemy. It deals 420% physical damage if that target is poisoned, and then he poisons the target for 3 turns, giving Venomate that much more physical damage for that much longer. Then, Vorian the Trickster's third move, Poisoning, at level 6, it deals 320% of the piercing damage to an enemy, removes 3 poison stacks from the enemy, dealing 100% of the damage for each stack removed. Piercing damage ignores enemy's armor. So you're increasing the possible damage of Vorian the Trickster. You won't have to build up Vorian the Trickster's poisons and wait for that damage increase to come and come and come. With the Venomate on there, it'll come much faster. Yes, you're hurting Venomate, but this is kind of a finish off move. And then, to just put the cherry on top, his passive ability, Double Dose, at level 6 has a 30% chance to apply 2 stacks instead of 1 when he applies poison. So these two, who are both based off of their poison mechanic, could be a great combination. So that is why Vorian the Trickster and Venomate coming in at number 4. Number 3. Number 3 comes to us from the pair of Tromgar and Synergies. I know I'm not a big fan of Synergies, but he's kind of growing on me, and I've been talking with a lot of people on Discord, and he is a higher end healer from what I'm understanding, and for that reason I think that the combination of these two could be potentially very big, and the reason for that has to come from the regeneration mechanic. Now Synergies at level 6, his passive ability, he gains 10% more damage increase for each stack of regeneration on his allies. Now his second ability, natural regeneration, and his third ability, restore, both apply regeneration stacks, but those are going to be on cooldowns and you have to balance that out well, but there's always going to be regeneration on the field. When looking at Tromgar, his second wind ability at level 6, he gains 2 stacks of regeneration for 2 turns, removes all buffs on himself, and recovers 10% of his health. Now you put that with Synergies, it's healing Tromgar, but it's also buffing Synergies by doing nothing for 2 turns, making him be able to heal harder and hit harder. So that the combination between the two is very, very nice, is the reason why Synergies and Tromgar come in at number 3. Number 2. Number 2 comes from Reval and Snorri. Now this very well could be number 1. But the reason I didn't put it at number 1 is because a lot of people already know about it. But for those people who don't, let's break it down. This synergy and combination has to do with the bleeding mechanic. And at level 6, Snorri on his second ability, Deadly Whirlwind, deals 220% physical damage to all enemies and inflicts bleeding on all enemies for 2 turns. Now this just makes Reval that much more deadlier. And again, it is because of his passive ability, where at level 6, he inflicts 20% more damage for each stack of bleeding on the enemy. Snorri's going to come in, do that mass AoE, he's going to put bleeding on the enemy, all 5 of them, for 2 turns. That is going to increase Reval's damage by 100% just by doing that move with Snorri. If you can protect them and keep them up for that long, the synergy between those two through the bleed mechanic is outstanding. So that is why the bleed mechanic with Snorri and Reval comes in at number 2 on my list. Number 1. Number 1 comes to us from the pair of Kyra and Wonderlua, and it has to do with 2 things. The first thing is the invisibility mechanic, and number 2 has to do with the demon synergy. So you're probably wondering, Zeri, she's an elf. I'll explain. Wonderlua has the ability, her third ability, called Cloak of Shadows, where she gains invisibility, applies it to allied healers, tacticians, and fighters for 2 turns. And her passive ability, Demonic Scourge, Wonderlua gains 20% physical damage increase and 7% for each living demon in the party. So we have a damage increase because of the demon in the party. We have invisibility, and then Piercing Shot deals 300% of the physical damage to an enemy. Half of that damage penetrates the shield, and it's guaranteed to deal a critical hit while invisible. To wrap that up, Wonderlua has her own invisibility mechanic. She gains more damage for a demon in the party, and then she gains a guaranteed critical hit using the second ability while she's invisible. Kyra, let's take a look at her. She is a demon and a fighter, so she is going to gain the invisibility buff from Wonderlua. Looking at her third ability is Gold Dark. She gains invisibility and applies it to all healers, tacticians, and fighters for 2 turns, and applies counterattack to a tank, blah blah blah. Wonderlua is a fighter. Wonderlua is going to get put invisible. These two can play off each other with the invisibility mechanic, so you're constantly hidden. So when she is hidden, it plays into her passive ability, which at level 6, when Kyra is invisible, she deals 30% more damage. So between the two, you're increasing their damage significantly. These are 2 very high-end arena players, and by putting them together, I don't think people realize how good the synergy is there. So that is why Kyra and Wonderlua, with their invisibility mechanic and their damage increases to each other, come in at number 1. Okay guys, that was my list. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope somebody could take some of these synergies away and you can play around with them in your compositions. So once again, thank you to all the subscribers out there. We are so very, very close to 150 subscribers, 9 away. If you're not a subscriber, click that button. Let's get going. Join the family and don't miss out on a thing. Be safe, and I'm out.